Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at Spitfire's cinematic pads from their originals line. So, the nice thing about the newer Spitfire stuff is that they have their own player. You don't have to use contact, and for me that is so nice cuz I don't have the full version. It's like 600 bucks, and when you're kind of new to composing or just new to acquiring samples and all of that, you're not really going to want to mess around with that in addition to acquiring the samples themselves. So, with that being said, we'll go through real quick and kind of show you what they got going on here. So they have a couple different usually these are like their microphones, but since these are like synthetic, they have different ways that they've mixed it. So these will affect the sound of the pads themselves. They have reverb, attack, release, and distortion with this particular originals line. Basically, it comes with a bunch of different presets and stuff, and you can kind of mess around with it. There's some that are kind of more like textural, strictly, like not even necessarily about the pitch. And then there's others that are kind of a good mix of both. So we'll kind of go in and just go through each preset and kind of mess around with it, and I can kind of show you what altering the attack, release, and stuff will do too. Alright, well, let's dig into how it sounds. So, I also want to preface by saying that I am a guitar player, not a keyboard or piano player, so my skills on piano are definitely not there, so please bear with me as far as that's concerned. But so this is the first preset. I'm kind of going the lower register too, because it's crazy how different they sound. Go even lower. Maybe a little bit grindy, trying to go that low with thirds, but it's not as bad an octave up. So yeah, very textural. Let's maybe change the attack and let's really change how this sounds. So immediate attack, and then we'll do I don't know, maybe that much. Do a little bit of extra reverb and then some distortion. We'll modify how it sounds. So if you're gonna take the attack and lower it so it's immediate, I feel like it becomes a lot more useful for melodies, especially having the release a little bit lower. To me, that already has some more melodic context. I feel like if you took the release all the way off, it'd be a little much. To me, then you're starting to sound a little bit synthesized anyway, but give it at least a little bit. I kind of want to do it all of distortion. This is probably going to be intense, I'm not going to lie. I think if you were to automate the distortion, that could be cool. But yeah, I think pretty much anything that I've messed around with so far, less has been more. So I found 25% at the most has been pretty good. That's not counting any of the presets that already have it up higher, but I'm sure that it would probably be similar. And the nice thing with the attack being low is you can still have that sustain nonsense, but I do feel like you lose some of the curve. So yeah, well, let's take the attack all the way up this time. Let's go crazy with it. So it's going to take longer for it to register the initial note than also another thing that we haven't even touched is the pads over here. So let's just do it like this real quick, because we haven't had this one on at all. So this is bright, very piercing, sort of icy quality. Okay, so cinematic, I'm kind of thinking is like bigger sounding. So it's still got a little bit of that higher end in there, but not quite as much as the bright. So yeah, you really, once you start mixing them together, that's kind of what their idea is. You get like a good mix for your music. I think in their advertisement they said something about how the bright and the mellow are used together often or something, but I mean really it just depends on what you're going for. But I think we spent more than enough time on this one preset, but I wanted to go through real quick and basically establish like, hey, this is what the interface has, what it can do. So that's the first preset, and that's a little bit about the interface. Let's do the next one. This preset's called Frosty Exhale. Yeah, that one surprisingly is a little bit more mobile sounding, which is nice. I think this is one of the cool ones in the low register, though. It's just like so much, so much. Moving the mod wheel. It's a little difficult with both of my hands occupied here, but I do try to use my pinky to like use the mod wheel to change the expression and stuff. If I can do some octaves, I can maybe. So that's kind of cool. You can do stuff like that. I do like the octave ones though. And then like as it keeps repeating, you could like. Now for that, I probably, if I was gonna do like I was just doing it, I'd probably do it maybe a bit more like this though. Somewhat brooding, but also kind of a bit intense. Alright, next preset is called Chatter Organ. Let's try it in the low register since we're already here. Go a little bit higher, register wise. This one also sort of has that like frosty sort of ethereal thing. They're pretty much all like that, but like in different ways. Like they're sort of unique to their own preset, if that makes sense. And that's also not even considering the fact that you can alter like the attack and release and stuff. And I'm not really gonna mess with too much of this stuff right now. It's more of like catering to your mix, being able to adjust like the mellow, bright, and cinematic like parameters and whatnot. In my opinion, it's kind of the same thing with the other products. Like they have a couple different like piano ones, for example. You can change like how like what mic is what, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, this one's pretty interesting. Alright, this one's called Midnight Waves. So much tension. This one in particular, I feel like you can just create so much just like energy, and like sometimes that's hard to get in your music, especially with like synthesized stuff. What's cool about this particular library is the fact that it is basically mixed material, remastered material from another library. So, like, if you own that other library, you got this for free. But they've repackaged the library with sort of this spacey thing. Do some of the low stuff again. The one thing that I really love about this is like how full some of these sound. Like, if you're not super good at engineering and stuff, it's helpful to have some material or some like resources that are already kind of like there, where you're gonna need to mix it, but you're mixing it more within the context of the entire piece, rather than like having to do the sound design. And I'm not, I mean, doing your own sound design is ideal. You should be making your own sounds, but at the same time, man, like, saving time is important. And if you know that you're going for a certain type of like timbre, and you know that, cinematic pads can do it, why would you not do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's a cheap product. Cheap isn't affordable. And I really don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to add some useful tools to your toolkit, especially as a producer trying to make sure that I can have a higher turnaround for my customers. Making sure I have different ways to go about the creating process is helpful. So, food for thought. Okay. Next preset, deep churn. Another really good like low register thing. I'm really low. I'm 3 octaves below middle C right now. Playing in octaves, of course. Let's go up higher and above. So a lot of these have sort of the same like icy quality to them. So I think if you're not, I think you do have to kind of be looking for this kind of thing. Like I said, you can get more out of it than just like being ethereal and whatnot. But like, this is going to be something that's good for creating space, as well as tension and whatnot. But it's nice because it doesn't feel like artificial. It's very organic sounding, since the samples are taken from actual instruments and then have been sort of, I'm gonna say, destroyed in a way. Like, they've been taken and altered and made into this product here, basically. This one's a bit organ-like, which I like. Very cool. This is one that I've seen that's been pretty popular, this preset. It's got like a nice little crescendo thing going on, and I'm assuming, changing the attack and the release will sort of alter that, like, more of an immediate, like, let's turn the distortion up. Oh wow, you can really start to hear the individual elements in it though. Wow, that almost sounds a bit dry. That's crazy. Let's go 50%, which is craziness. Do a little bit. Okay. This reminds me of some circus shit right here. Alright, so I'm gonna reload that preset. Maybe. Wow, we haven't gotten very far in this. Alright, let's go on to another preset. Yeah, and I feel like with a lot of these, you could just honestly hold out a chord, right? And then have like percussion and other stuff sort of like emphasizing. And then you could increase like your release or something so that the chord doesn't just die off, you know what I'm saying? Like that way there's still a tail, but it's not like it's not like you have this big crescendo and then just flatlines. So yeah, I think a lot of things could be like that, where it's like, okay, I like the way that the timbre of a preset sounds, and then you can use that sort of like establish like, all right, you have like your good sustaining ones, like ones that will like crescendo or like sort of have like evolving textures within the samples and whatnot. Having good ones for like, you know, articulating like a melody or something. So like basically you'd have like your longs, your shorts, and then like, you know, stuff in between. All right, more presets. There's a lot of presets in this thing. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all of them or not. But yeah, I think that's the glory of this library, is like you sort of have these really, really interesting and good quality sounding presets that you can sort of like, you can alter within reason. Like, it's nice to be able to alter like the attack and release for sure, but I mean most of the time you will end up doing your own reverb with whatever plugins, you know. So yeah, a lot of the things other than attack and release you could do yourself. This part with the pads, I don't really know. Maybe you can use EQ to do that, but I think that they have you know, there's this section here, and then the attack and release are the most important. But if you don't want to, I mean, you could get away with doing all of it in the plugin too. So, but yeah, there's a lot of really interesting textures in here, and like, it's good for a lot of different things, but I do feel like it caters to like horror and like space, just like ethereal sort of stuff, you know. Oh yeah, here's a couple. I wanted to show off a couple of these weird ones. Like, they're kind of more like noise oriented. Oh, this one's one of my favorite ones like that. I think that's cool as hell, dude. Like, you could easily use that as like some background music for something. Just like that sort of like brooding, like rumbly, like just air. But that's what I'm saying, like, there's not a definitive pitch necessarily. It just kind of like centers around some pitch range. Another one of those epic low ones. There's a lot of those too, where it's like you have really good ones for like longs for like the higher register and shorts for the higher register. But man, some of these presets are super good for just straight up octaves in the bass. Like, I don't know. I think that sounds really good. Oh, this one's crazy too. I got some rumbly rumbles. Oh, let's do Octafire. Especially like if you're scoring like like some sort of film, you can create so much tension and just like different fun stuff, man. Like you really could do a lot with this, I feel like. And also combining this with other libraries, I think would also be super helpful because you're gonna get a lot of different textures that you might not normally get. Uh, I think if you were to use this with like even the free Spitfire stuff, their lab series, I think that's not a bad start. You could do like this with like piano. There's definitely like strings. There's a lot of different products, and they're all free. Um, this particular product that I'm talking about is $29. Like, so basically, Spitfire's got a couple different types of products, right? They have like their premium products, which are like like the full Albion library, the BBC Professional, a couple things like that. But then they also have the original series, which is like their cheap, sort of like affordable sample libraries. That's where this one comes from here, the cinematic pads. And then we also have the labs, which are completely free. But yeah, the labs get updated quite often, so there's lots of fun stuff to mess around with. And yeah, I think that if you're looking to add a library to your toolkit and you really like sort of ethereal textures and sort of um, organic sounding stuff, I think this is a good library. So yeah, I don't think going through every preset is necessary. There's a lot, but I think what's important to know about this is that you have some parameters you can control, right? Well, some of the parameters we've already kind of talked about. A lot of the elements in this library cater towards like long held out chords, but there are certainly opportunities for melodies, and especially in the low register for some of those, doing octaves with the bass line, it sounds really full and really good. You might just need to alter the attack or release depending on like the tail. You just have to kind of like listen with your ear. But yeah, depending on the tail of the note and stuff, you can kind of adjust it and whatnot. So I think for the price, it's a great library. I mean, I know that I have a lot of fun messing with it. I plan on using it to help me score some like media and stuff for sure. I definitely want to use this in some of my own like beats and stuff, like writing some music. So, um, I would say that it's most strongly suited for doing like media for like horror, doing stuff to build suspense. So you could probably do it in like an action thriller. Not all the time, but like in moments where you're trying to really build up the suspense and whatnot. Sci-fi for sure. You got a lot of weird textures, so I mean, of course, it's gonna be good for sci-fi. And then I also think that this would fit really well with like hybrid scores. So you could really do anything at that point. But um, the sound quality is definitely there. It sounds full, and I think that it is worth your money. So hopefully you enjoyed this demo. I originally had planned on doing all the presets, but honestly, I don't think it's necessary. They all sound like similar enough where you kind of need to like you can hear a few of them and then be like, okay, well, what can each individual preset be customized to kind of sound like? So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Good tool. Obviously not the most profound tool that's ever existed, but I mean it's good at what it does. So if you want a library that's good at creating space and ambience and whatnot, This is definitely the library for you. So I hope that you find this video to be informative. Please let me know if you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, as well as any feedback you might have. I am always glad to hear it out. So thanks for watching.